Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our tiny little podcast that I do with my wonderful ex-students. And I say ex-students, not a thing that we were dating or anything, but it's more for the audience. The audiences generally are going to be students too, and I brought in a very special person with Jean Paul Hanna from Lebanon. He was my student at the American Business School of Paris at the MBA level. He was also the runner-up for the business games, and he did a wonderful project for the entrepreneurship class. And for all of this, I think I would let Jean Paul give his own introduction. Jean Paul, can you tell us about yourself?
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for this wonderful introduction. I'm really glad that I'm here with you today. I'd love to share about my experience. It's one of my passion to share everything I've been through with everyone, at least to help some people or maybe inspire some people or maybe at least just let them have fun listening of about my journey. So basically, my name is Jean Paul Hanna. I'm 24 years old. I am a Lebanese citizen. I went to Paris as a student to pursue my MBA, as you said in the introduction, my MBA in entrepreneurship. And this is basically it. So I'd like to start speaking about what happened with me until I reached to decide to go to Paris and follow this MBA and what changed my life.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. What made you decide to come to Paris?
Yeah, okay. I'll start from the beginning. I start from the early beginning because it's really interesting what happened with me. I was always an A student at school. I was always the top of my class. So my parents, I live in. So my parents' dream was for me to become a doctor, and they kind of imposed this dream on me to become my dream. Okay. So I thought I want to become doctor.
Right.
So
and how old were you when they started maybe dictating that, hey, Jean Paul, you can be a doctor, you're smart? At what age do you think?
I was like 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
In grade 9. Basically in grade 9.
Okay.
Yes. So I was always, as I said, the top of my class. So it was their dream, and I kind of liked it because I'm really attached to my parents, and I always wanted to make them proud because they were there for me in every step. So I kind of made it my dream too,
right?
Until I reached grade 11. Here in Lebanon, in grade 11, I don't know the system in Paris, but here in Lebanon at grade 11, you will choose if you want to continue in the scientific field or in the economic field.
Okay.
So as I wanted to become a doctor, I decided to continue in the scientific field. So once I started the grade 11, the scientific part, I literally hated math, physics, chemistry. Okay. They were like my worst subjects, and I rarely liked biology and few subjects. So
was it the curriculum, or was it the teachers, or you're just not, there was no interest in the subject?
Okay, I'd like to I had in physics, it was the teacher. Sorry if he's hearing this. But in chemistry, I hated the subject completely, and math, I hated numbers. My problem wasn't with numbers, actually. It was with geometry. Everything linked with algebra was fine, but the geometry was really bad. I literally hated it. I considered it like a punishment for me. So I was like, no, what I am doing here? I am an organizer. I like to organize stuff. I always have to-do list to do it since I was 15. I like to plan things, to make strategies.
Right.
So it was like a turn point for me that what am I doing here?
Right.
Okay, I love my parents. Okay, I want to make them proud. Okay, I am smart. But this is my life. This is what I want to do. I will be living this life and not them.
Right. Did you discuss this with your parents, that you wish to not continue doing science? And okay, so you did. What did they say or think?
I wasn't expecting their reaction. I thought they would be sad, but in fact, they were really supportive, and they told me that we thought that you liked this because you never said no. That's why we always encouraged you.
Mhm.
But as long as you're not comfortable, you can do whatever you want. This is
That's a
simply
good
your
thing.
life.
Yeah.
Yes, they were really supportive, and I really enjoyed this chat.
Mhm.
So in grade 12, I shifted from scientific to economics.
Okay.
And this is where my journey began.
Right.
I loved a lot the economics part, and I loved the where they teach us in the economics part in Lebanon, they teach us sociology and economics. They focus on
Okay.
both of them.
That's good.
And it was really nice, especially economics. I really liked the fact how demand and supply works. I really liked the fact how the business works. And the teacher was really nice, and he always believed in me, and he always told me that you will succeed in the business field.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. I enjoyed every step. And that's where I decided to continue in the university to choose auditing and accounting and auditing field.
Okay, that's good.
So when I started with the accounting and auditing field, the first 1 year and a half in Lebanon, you don't start with your major. You
Okay.
take like general business classes.
Right.
So I took HR, I took marketing, I took business strategy, I
Mm-hmm.
took entrepreneurship. It was all very interesting for me.
Right.
And in the first 1 year and a half, you only take accounting one and accounting two.
Okay.
You don't take the
I'm
advanced
quite
accounting.
curious. Were the
Yes,
courses, were they in French, Arabic, or English?
or
How?
English. English. I
Okay,
was
they're
in a
in.
pure American system. I was
Oh, okay.
in an American university.
All right. Okay.
All the courses were in English.
What was the name of the university?
Notre Dame University,
Notre
NDU.
Dame. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Just in case any Lebanese people from Notre Dame are there, then you can say, "Hey, that's my alma mater." Or maybe you might know Jean Paul Hanna, so you can always say, "Hey, that's my bro."
By the way,
So,
I'm a very proud graduate from
okay.
NDU. I was really proud with the curriculum, and it helped me a lot in Paris. It gave
Mhm.
me a really strong background to continue my journey in Paris.
That's good. That's good. So please do continue. After that, what happened?
Okay, so I started with my courses. I really enjoyed all the courses. I love the entrepreneurship and strategies part, but I was very interested in accounting one and accounting two. I felt like this is what I want. So I chose to continue on this field.
Mm.
But then when I started to discover more about accounting and when I started with the intermediate accounting, the advanced accounting, when I started with the courses of taxation and auditing one, auditing two, I was like, no, this is not what I am. I don't want to end up behind a desk and focusing only on numbers. This is not me. I, I have I have the leader traits in my personality. I like to lead. I like to organize. I like to start new stuff, to make new beginnings. I don't like to waste my time and energy working on somebody else's idea. I want to waste them to work on my ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I finished the accounting. I took my degree in accounting and auditing, but I didn't even make an internship.
Okay.
This is how much I didn't want to. I did actually an internship for 1 month because I had to for the curriculum to graduate,
Right.
but it wasn't not at all what I want. So I started thinking what I do really want in life. And here comes an advice for everyone who's listening, especially for young people who still don't know what they want to do. I just want to tell them it's not wrong if you still don't know what you want to do. You can try as many options as you want. You can research, you can do anything. It's not wrong to decide what you want, because the feeling you get when you find yourself that this is what I want is the best feeling ever. Trust me.
Well, that's true. I'm going to also interject with how I started my
Mm-hmm.
coming into teaching. Initially, I actually suffer from dyslexia, And
Okay.
I got to find out very later in life that why I was never good at education, but I was good at creative stuff. My teachers would see this that I'm making efforts, but I honestly was having difficulty in remembering things. And later on in life, I've, my the way my parents describe my learning process is that I actually have dyslexia. So
Mm-hmm.
initially back home in my country, I started in the science part, but I was very interested in art. I also applied for art. This is like A levels, almost like upper high school. I applied to one of the top schools in Pakistan. It's called Indus Valley. Out of
Mm-hmm.
700 students, on my first shot, they have like six different entrance exams. I got in. And when the panel interviewed me, and one of the guys asked me, Mr. Mirza, what is your niche in life? And I just froze and looked at him and I said, I don't think I want to do art. He's like, are you sure? Because you're like out of 700 people, only 40 are doing an interview. So let us know what you think because then someone else can get your position. I said, yeah,
Okay.
I don't think so. I want to do art. I want to do computers. I went into IT. I liked IT so much. And then after that, I went, I started working in a bank as well. I liked the business field and I did an MBA in marketing. But these two things remained with me. But when I was in doing my bachelor in information technology, it was a 4-year bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
I was also tutoring my friends in mathematics, computer architecture, and programming, and I really enjoyed like the part about teaching and tutoring. This is what led me to my life right now. Now I'm like 41 years old, and I can honestly say,
And you
very
are a
later in life.
teacher.
Yeah. So yeah. What? Sorry.
And you are a teacher. So
Yeah, I'm a
after
teacher. Yeah.
everything that happened, you are a teacher. This is
Yeah.
what you want. This is what That's the whole idea, what I was talking about. It's not wrong to try everything,
Yeah.
but once you settle, once you find what you love, just go for it.
Of
It's your
course.
own life.
Yeah, it's your own life. And my parents were also quite supportive about this. They weren't forcing anything
Mhm.
down my throat, especially my father, even though coming from what we call Pakistani Indian background, parents are quite strict. My father never was strict with me. He said, you're good at everything you can do, right? In fact, he
Mhm.
wanted me to go to the US, but it was expensive. And he said, you'll do good, you'll be fine. But when I pursued my teaching thing, my father wanted to open a tuition center for me. He said, you'll do good. He had that much faith in me and I didn't. And coming to Paris now that I teach, honestly speaking, with the reviews I've gotten, I'm quite satisfied that I think this is who I am. And I think
Mhm.
you went through the same process of figuring out who you wanted to be because you couldn't find yourself. They say you weren't comfortable in your skin. You just wanted
Yes.
to know what you want to do. And this is quite the bizarre. Most people, young people, are scared of experimenting because maybe the parents or society would judge them to be a failure. But
Mhm.
it's your life. Yeah, who the hell cares, right? Who are they to tell you you're a failure? You're still experimenting. And they say life
Exactly.
life begins at
Exactly.
40, and until you're 40 years old, don't worry, keep experimenting. So, sorry, no, I interjected quite forcefully, but carry on, Jean Paul.
No, it's
Yeah,
that's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine.
yeah.
It's really interesting to listen. I didn't know all these details about you. I knew
Yeah.
you were always into IT and you were really good at it,
I'm okay
but
at it.
I didn't knew that you worked at a bank, for example. That was weird for me. Okay,
Yeah.
so basically, when I graduated, I was like, no, this is not what I want. I don't want to be an auditor. I don't want to spend all my life behind a desk checking numbers. I want to pursue what I really want. So I started thinking about entrepreneurship because basically that's the whole idea behind entrepreneurship, to be your own boss, to follow your dreams, to follow your own instructions, to so this is basically what I like, and it's like a trait in my character. This is what I really want.
Right.
So this is where I decided to help my father in the family business.
Okay. And your family business is?
Okay, so we are basically wholesalers and retailers for fruits and vegetables across Lebanon.
Okay.
So we have our own products, we have our own lands, and we also work with farmers. So we buy, we are resellers of their products, and we make commissions.
Okay.
So this is where I decided that since we already have a business, and since none of my brothers and sisters is interested to continue because everyone is interested in his field, I was like, why not? Why not try to continue with my father and to learn every aspect of this business?
Okay. Okay.
So this is where I started working with him before deciding to go to Paris and continue my degree. So I started with working with my father, and this is what I thought I want to do in my life.
Mhm.
I was enjoying the first few days. It was really nice learning about the whole concept, about how becoming a boss. And my father was teaching me every aspect. So he was like, if you want to work with me, you will start as a worker, as the simplest position,
Right.
and then you will grow so you can learn every aspect and you can learn everything that's happening.
That is the true entrepreneur. Entrepreneur, even though you're your own boss, you're actually also your own worker. You have to know
Exactly.
everything. Yeah, exactly. It's a tough thing, huh? Being an entrepreneur, it's not in everyone's blood, but if you enjoy it, oh boy, then you don't want to work 9 to 5.
Mhm.
It becomes part of your personality and your objective in life, that this is who I am and I want to be. Very hard for an
Exactly.
entrepreneur to come work 9 to 5. Some people like the routine of 9 to 5, but
Hmm.
most of the students who are pursuing entrepreneurship or their own business with another partner, they they hate routine, and they,
True.
yeah, and also you get to experiment. You have the opportunity to be creative, meet new clients and people and customers, suppliers, and your life will never be boring. So I think
Yes.
that's the one of the beauty of being an entrepreneur. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. And when I started working with my father, I
Mhm.
was always watching TED Talks. I was always reading about entrepreneurship.
Mhm.
I was always following Instagram pages about entrepreneurship. It was like a passion for me to read about how you become your own boss, how you start new businesses. I also read a lot about business consultancy.
Mhm.
I read a book that helped me a lot, which is called Thinking in New Boxes. I really love this book and I recommend it to everyone.
It's called Thinking
And
in New
in
Boxes.
new boxes,
Okay.
we always hear the sentence think outside of the box.
Mhm.
This book tells you that you can never think outside of the box, but
Yeah.
what you can do
Mhm.
is create new boxes that you can think inside them, and it is really interesting,
Yeah.
and it helped me a lot to make this
You,
decision.
you, you remind me of Rick Thompson. We had a teachers meeting, and I'm not going to take
Mhm.
the name of the person who said this, but this person, okay, I'm not even revealing their gender. This person said, "Our students should be more out of the box." And Rick, he never speaks up in these meetings. He's barely there, but he's very profound.
I miss Rick.
Oh, Rick is
He's
amazing, right?
wonderful. He's
Yeah.
wonderful. Yes.
So you know what he said? You keep saying your students are out of the box, but in order to think outside of the box, you first must know where the box is.
Where the box is.
Yeah, and
Exactly.
yeah, and I laughed so hard I had to put like a tissue on my face because I was going to cry from laughter, because he was right, and that rebuttal was very, very good. So,
Yes.
so you mentioned a book, right? There's also a book similar to this called The Three Boxes. I think it's written by
Hmm.
an Indian person. The name is Indian, but I think they're very famous for entrepreneurs. My brother recommended it to me. Amazing book. But that's the thing. You'll always be entrapped in a system. There will be a political
Yes.
system, there'll be an economic system, there'll be a social system. You cannot escape it. But yeah, having creativity, you can redefine the system and
Yes.
have fun with it. So you're right about this. You'll always be in a
Exactly.
box. Yeah.
Yes. I totally agree.
Mm.
So when I started reading about all this, there's another thing here. I consider it a problem, but Lebanese people are used to it.
Mhm.
That we live with our parents our whole lives until we get married.
Mhm. Well, it's
So
the same with
basically,
Pakistanis, though.
so
Even
the,
if we
basically,
get married, we live with our parents.
sometimes it is the case in Lebanon.
Yeah.
I
It's
really,
a yeah, it's a what do we call it? A joint family system. It's a very
yes,
cultural and
exactly,
religious as well. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And your parents can interfere in your life as long as you are living under their roof.
Yeah.
So even though I was really enjoying my life with my parents, I really love my parents. We have like a really close relationship, especially with my brothers and sisters.
Right.
But I always wanted to be independent. I always wanted to count on myself. I always wanted to feel that I have the authority to do what I want, to do what I like. And after reading all the things about entrepreneurship and how much I like this, and after I've decided that I need to continue my education, I need to get an MBA, this is where I decided that it is time to continue my education. It is time to find an MBA. And as we all know, in almost most of the countries, the MBA is just the regular MBA. So I wanted it to be specialized in entrepreneurship. So that was the base of my research. I wanted to find a university where I can do my MBA in entrepreneurship. I want to emphasize on the entrepreneurship part. So this is where I found one university in Paris, which is the American Business School of Paris, and I found another option in London. So I put the two options in front of me. I studied my budget, how much I can afford, and Paris was the right choice. I really liked the curriculum. I really liked the idea of being in Paris, especially that I have relatives there. I have cousins living there, so I won't be alone.
Right.
Even though I want to be independent, but if anything happened, I have someone to refer to. So this is where I decided to to pursue my dream and to follow the MBA in entrepreneurship. And I went to Paris. I can literally say it was the best experience in my life, even though I only stayed there for 1 year. But it was one of the best experiences, starting with the life, the mood, the swings, the ups and downs, the education. It was a whole experience. It was something that I will never forget. I even tell my parents now that the first amount of money that I will put aside, that I will save, I'm going to buy an apartment in Paris.
Oh,
I feel like attached to the city.
Oh, you mentioned this, that you feel attached to the city. Here's a funny thing. I've been living in France, or I would say Ile-de-France, for almost 10 years now. And I do go to Paris to teach. I've seen parts of Paris. I know everyone who's young loves Paris, but maybe it's my age. I like the countryside more. But what you're saying, coming to Paris, you really liked it. What was the biggest, I would say, attraction to come to Paris, or is it remaining in Paris? What do you like the most? But at the same time, what is the reality check you would give to other young people who want to come to Paris and settle down here, or have do an education for 1 year? What is the benefit, and also what could be some of the disadvantages, or maybe the things to look out for and be careful about? What is your advice on this?
Okay, so basically what I liked most about Paris, and the American Business School was a huge part of it. The how can I say this?
I hope American Business School sponsors this podcast. I have to edit this out, but yeah, this is good. I'm just joking.
The intercultural approach. You can find people from all cultures. You can meet with people from all cultures. You can interact. You can share your knowledge. You can learn from them. Right. It was like a whole new experience for me. I never worked with people from different cultures. I've met people from Mexico, from Kenya, from Egypt, from China, from Japan. It was like an awesome opportunity to learn about new cultures.
Right. And this is, of course, one of my reasons for staying at the American Business School Paris, even though compared to many other schools that I teach in, the size or the glamour or glory of teaching in bigger names, it's always there, right? People like, I teach in this school and that school, but I feel profoundly attached to the American Business School. It's also because of the diversity and the culture. You get to meet so many people all the time. It's like, it's always a surprise. You don't always have one set of people, and it's always
Yes,
fun to. And it's a culture of this place. American systems culture is teachers and students have very low power distance between them, so they can easily
yes,
communicate, which is even much more fun. So
yes.
I think coming to Paris, of course, it's a melting pot. It's central to Europe. There's lots of history, art, culture, and
Hmm.
it's a la mode. Everything happens quite quick over here,
Exactly.
right? So you can
I
experience a
totally
lot.
agree.
Yeah.
And you can choose the culture that you want,
Mhm.
and you can go into a street, a rue that
Mhm.
is all about this culture.
Right.
So
Right.
if you feel like I want to try the Chinese culture, there are
Yeah.
a lot of rue, a lot of streets in Paris that you can only find Chinese people,
Yeah. That's
where you can
Belleville.
only find Chinese.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Go to
exactly.
Belleville if you want to experience Indian. Go to La Chapelle. You want to.
Exactly. That's why I really feel like attached to this place.
Mhm.
And especially when I go with my friends. So I had a Chinese friend who took me to this place. I had an Indian friend who took me to another place that serves India. It's like, come and meet our culture, come and meet our values.
Right.
This
Right.
is one of the best parts of Paris, that you can find everything you want.
Mm. That is true. Paris is very, very diverse. I mean, when I tell my students I take the RER and come all the way to Paris, I see so many different people. It doesn't feel
Hmm.
like I'm living in France, except for the language part. I would feel I'm not living in France, but France is also currently Paris is
Hmm.
moving towards I would say more of an Anglophone culture. More and more people are started speaking English, so life has
Hmm.
become generally much more easier if you're traveling to Paris. I'm saying Paris in general because I don't live in other parts of France, right? But it's become very different in the past 10 years, become much more, in a way, I would say even Americanized in a way. Their fast
Yes.
foods. We have Five Guys, all here. Can you imagine? We have
Exactly,
Five Guys.
exactly. Oh my God, how much I miss Five Guys. We don't have it here in Lebanon, and I'm currently how do you say, craving one of them.
Oh, I just
One of the
had
burgers.
dinner. I had dinner before talking to you, and I was thinking of showing you what I was eating, but I said that would be unfair because you're coming from a place where they have one of the best foods in the world, Lebanon.
True,
Yeah.
true,
And my
true.
wife's favorite food is Lebanese food. She's like, j'adore. I'd say nothing better than Lebanese food. So
So,
once a week we do, or like or twice a month we do eat Lebanese food, even though it may not be
uh-huh.
that authentic. But oh my God, it has to
They're
be
not
one of the best foods in the world.
okay. Let me tell you something.
Mhm.
The only bad thing about Paris
Mhm.
is that you cannot find delicious Lebanese food. That's the only bad thing about Paris. There are really good places.
Right.
There are really good places, not to generalize,
Mhm.
but it's nothing to be compared when you try them in Lebanon.
Right.
Nothing to compare.
It's true. What same goes for Indian food. Actually, someone who
Hmm.
lives in England, he was, he asked me, "Can I find authentic Pakistani food in Paris?" He's been living here, but he also lives in England. And in
Hmm.
England, there are many cities which are there are a lot of Indian Pakistanis, right? And they're very famous for Pakistani restaurant, and they do make authentic Pakistani food. I visited one of them. Holy cow, the food was better than I've tasted back home. Extremely authentic, like really, really good
Hmm.
stuff. But in Paris, no, you cannot. I mean, even when I tried
But
some of my own food, I was just like, I'd rather have my home food. This was not
hmm.
authentic. I don't know why they say we tone down the spices for the local audience, and I'm like, you should not do that. Keep it authentic. The people are here to
Yes.
experiment. Try making it authentic enough, and you'll see you'll have a better, I would say, customer base. But I
Hmm.
guess that would be. But what would you caution, rather than saying bad stuff? I'm not saying it. What would you caution young people to when they come to Paris? What they should do? Not saying
Take
that
care of.
about Paris in general, but what sort of
To take care of.
mindset? Sorry.
Yes, to take care of things, to take care of,
Yeah,
to be cautious about.
yeah.
Yes, yes, I understand.
Mm.
Let me tell you something. I will start with a small story so I
Mhm.
can reach this point.
Okay,
So basically, here in Lebanon, we don't have public transportations.
right.
So literally, everyone has his own car.
Mm.
And I used to hate driving. because there are a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
Just think that every person has his own car in the country,
Hmm.
so a lot of traffic. So that was one of my favorite part in Paris. I was never been in a metro
Oh,
before
okay.
reaching Paris.
Okay.
It was a very good experience for
Hmm.
me, and this is where I should tell everyone to be aware, because there are a lot of pickpockets, there are a lot of things that's happening, and sometimes there are few streets that are really dangerous
Right.
at night
Yeah.
especially.
Yeah.
So this is, and I've been to some of the streets. Once I had like three people following me,
Oh dear.
so I was lucky to find the door of a building that is open. So I went inside. They
Mhm.
waited for me. I was seeing them from the glass. They waited outside for like 20 minutes and then they left. And I
Holy
was
shit.
just sitting there for 20 minutes,
Right.
hoping that they won't see me back. So these are few things to take care of, but not everywhere in Paris. So
Yeah.
basically, it's just out of the 40 people that I was doing MBA with, it only happened with me. So
Right.
it is something to take care of, but it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I would say the
Exactly.
same. I mean, I nearly got pickpocketed, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw the guy's face, and he thought that I didn't see him, so I started. I didn't chase him. I started walking next to him, and it was in the
Mm-hmm.
Gare du Nord, right, in daytime. And he started going. He's turning around and looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and he's going up the escalator, so I follow him the escalator. Then he's like turns around, then he goes down the escalator. I go down the escalator, and then he gets
Mm-hmm.
scared, so he starts walking fast, and he takes the what do you call it, train upstairs, which is line H. He gets in it. I also get in it, and this time he's freaking out. Now he starts running, but
Mm-hmm.
I come out of the train. I pretend to run after him. I
Okay.
was having so much fun with this guy, and but never. If you
Typical
do,
Baber.
yeah, but if
Typical
you,
Baber.
yeah, I mean, this is typical me, right? But if you do get pickpocketed and someone's running away from you, don't chase after them. Honestly, because they will go up, they will hide your bag or somewhere in a drain or a garbage can, and then they'll go
Mm-hmm.
meet up with their friends. Okay, this is typical. I would say, like metropolitan areas, the gangs and all these people, they prey on tourists and people who are not aware of what streets to be on and not. Number two, I look somewhat like a local person and also Indian looking, and people probably don't want to mess with me, or they probably think I'm just poor, leave them alone. But yeah, you have to be careful.
That's racist.
Yeah. On top of that, what about finding
Mhm.
apartments? Did you have any issues in finding an apartment or paying for the security
For
deposit?
me, okay, for me, it wasn't really an issue because, as I told you, I have my cousins there.
Yeah.
So I had my apartment ready before reaching Paris.
Okay. Okay.
I found it on seloger.com.
Hmm.
It is really helpful to use it, and I can recommend it to anyone who is coming newly to Paris.
Right.
So I found the apartment, and I contacted the landlord. I
Mhm.
gave his contacts to my cousin.
Right.
She visited him. She did the état des lieux with
Okay.
him
Right.
before me reaching. So when I reached Paris, I took the key from her. That was an easy step for me. I didn't face, and I have three cousins. They asked for like this. This is the surprised part. They asked for three garants.
Oh.
One
Okay.
garant was not enough.
Okay.
So gladly, I had three cousins living there, so
Yeah.
they were my garant.
Right.
So I didn't face problems, but I know a lot of people who are facing these problems.
Yeah.
I paid the security deposit. It was 1 month rent.
Hmm.
They gave it back after 2 months that I
Okay.
quit the
This is a
apartment.
problem. Some students, are not
Are
sure about
facing.
the process. They don't get their security deposit back. But I think there's a
Mm-hmm,
new website called it s'appelle comment, margarant.com or something.fr, where if
mm-hmm,
you're not getting your security deposit back, you can actually go online and make a complaint, and the lawyer would contact this guy to pay back. Otherwise, there will be a case on
mm-hmm,
him. And other new sites have popped up like this, where if you don't have a garant, they can secure something for you, because sometimes people book an apartment and they show up and there's no apartment at all. There's just some street with some
exactly.
with
Fraud,
nothing there. Like, what the hell?
fraudulent
Where am
acts.
I?
Yes,
So yeah.
yes, yes. But this is very important. I think you should share this with everyone because there are
Mhm.
a lot of people who are facing problems and finding around. And I
Mhm.
know a lot of people who still until now did not get their security deposit back. So it is important to
Yeah,
share this type of websites.
there's this Facebook group I think all students should be part of. I'm actually
Mhm.
marketing for them now, I guess. It's free marketing for them, but it's a good site. It's called Expats in Paris and Île-de-France, right?
Mhm.
And there are so many people there. It's one of the biggest Facebook groups for expatriates, run by these really nice people. They control the group really well. So there's no bullying or harassment, but majority of the questions are related to real estate. Always, my
Mhm.
garant did not pay me back. Say, and 10 people will pop up as lawyers and say, do this, do this, do this. And then they say, thank you, we did it, and we got our security deposit. And
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, because sometimes garants can be, they can take advantage of your innocence. And like, oh, it's just a kid, what will he do? So you have to be cautious coming to Paris to do this. But otherwise, uh, your time in Paris, right?
Mhm.
In school, maybe. You were like pursuing an MBA. What was the experience like in general? Did you have a good time with making friends? Was it easy making friends, or were you stuck with your own kind of people, meaning from Lebanon, or did you mix around with
Not
people?
at all. Not at all. Let me tell you something about the Lebanese people.
Hmm.
The Lebanese people are the most, how can I say, the most sociable people that you
Hmm.
can ever meet.
That is
The
true.
simplest
Yeah.
the simplest thing for us is to make new friends.
Oh yeah.
We're just familiar with everyone. We just like everyone.
Hmm.
We show kindness to everyone, even though we don't know them. It's our values. We have strong values that I'm really proud of.
Right.
I can, if I met a stranger, I can ask him about his kids and his work, and it's really normal for me.
Right.
Even though a lot of people found it like it's something weird, and they tried to stay away from this because they're not used to it, but it's something very, very, very common for us. This is how we are raised.
Yeah. I
Uh,
also know how to detect a Lebanese student in my class. Do you know how I can detect a Lebanese student in my class?
how?
Simple. When I give an assignment,
Mhm.
only the Lebanese student will ask for an extended deadline. They will negotiate.
They will negotiate,
Every
and
time they say,
and
sir,
they will
please.
and they will convince you.
Yeah, they'll try to convince me. And I'm like, listen,
Exactly.
are you Lebanese? He's like, Professor, how do you know? I'm like, only Lebanese will talk bravely in front of everyone. They'll try to talk to the professor, try to convince them to extend the deadline. So I appreciate you asking for an extension. It's like, so will you extend it? I said, I will only extend it for you and not for the others. And everyone's like, what? This is unfair. I'm like, no, this is
No,
what
because he
business
asked
school.
for it.
Yeah,
He's a
it's a business
negotiator.
school. Yeah, it's a business school.
Exactly.
Ask for a negotiation. I didn't say it's written in stone, right? He or she asked me for an extension. And by
I
the way, if
just
you guys listening and you're Lebanese, you try this trick with me now, it will not work
it will
because
not work anymore.
it will not work anymore. But yeah, also my Lebanese students are the only ones when the class finishes and like their semester is over. Even the next semester or so, they're not part of my class. They'll always come and give me baklava or gifts like that without any
Oh,
sort of favor to ask. Like,
it's
no, sir,
it's
this is
our
for
it's our culture.
yeah,
This
it's a
is how
cultural
we are
thing.
raised.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. We are very as people after meeting all the intercultural people that I have met, we have like a kind of generosity that I'm really proud of. We
Mhm.
don't do it for an exchange. We don't
Yeah,
do it
exactly.
because we want something back. We
Right.
just do it because we love to do it. We like to show people our appreciation.
This
We
is
like
the
to show
yeah.
people
This is
that you
I
mean to
think
us.
this is also the reason. I'm not just saying a reason, but it's also a good entrepreneurial skill to establish good
Yes,
relationships even after
exactly.
the fact. No matter what culture you come from, it will be appreciated. That okay,
Yes.
maybe you didn't get the contract, but you still send a nice gift. If you're working with a French person and let's say you did not establish a contract, you were working on a contract together and didn't work on next time, just send them a bottle of champagne. You say,
Exactly.
with
I can even invite him for dinner at home, even though there's nothing to do together.
yeah,
This is something
I
very
think,
normal.
yeah, very not only normal. I think this should be practiced more often. And the lines between Western and Eastern culture have blurred so much that people
Mhm.
actually appreciate this. It's like, oh, for absolutely no reason. It's like, why can't we just sit down and have food, have an update from time to time?
Exactly.
And I, as a if you're a business student, you should be experiencing or experimenting this way. What's the worst that
Hmm.
could happen, right? Uh,
Exactly.
you're still experimenting. If someone doesn't like it, you can apologize afterward, right?
Exactly. Exactly. This is what I used to do. And when you told me that you and your wife really like Lebanese food, I
Yeah.
will allow myself to do free marketing. But there
Sure.
is really a really nice place. There is a really nice place that is called Chez Zena in
Is there?
Arrondissement 18. It's a family business, a wife and her husband. They are
Can
really
you spell that
welcoming.
for me? Shay.
Chez Zena, Chez, Chez,
Sorry, is TH or no?
C
So
C C H. Ah,
no, no,
Chez.
that I know, like Shay,
Okay.
etc. But
And
is it
Zena is Zena.
Daddy any? Okay, Zena. It's in the 18 or what?
18,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh, that's like Stalingrad and all those places. So La
It's
Chapelle, and so it's not a problem for me because when I'm going back home, I go from Gare du
Mhm.
Nord, which is like 18. So maybe
Oh,
I can stop
okay.
over, eat the food, and try it before my wife does. And
She has she does like the real Lebanese food, not the food that you can find anywhere.
okay,
She has plat du jour. Every day she has a different plat du jour,
okay.
a typical Lebanese plat du jour, and she's very welcoming. She's always smiling. She's
Mhm.
running the business with her husband.
All
It's a
right.
very small restaurant.
Oh,
It
definitely
can
go
fit
try this out.
a
Just
maximum of 15 to 20 people,
mhm.
but it's really nice.
Oh,
The
I'm going to take
environment
my
is really
family
nice.
there because we're waiting for
Yes.
the 30 Juin, the 30th June for the restaurants to open up, and I have a whole list of places to take my kids.
Yes.
So we're waiting for that to open up because my kids are older now. My youngest he's 5 years old, so coming to
Hmm.
Paris should be more regular. I have to,
Yes.
we have to take them to the Musée du Louvre. We have to take them to the Eiffel Tower and these places. But when kids are very small, they
They
get
won't enjoy
bored.
it.
Yeah, they
They
won't
get bored.
enjoy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
so
I
my
understand.
yeah, so this is the reason we didn't go to Paris that often because generally what can and at that time when our kids were small, if we went to Paris, there was no children's menu, there was no children's chair to sit on, right? But
Hmm.
now Paris, that's what I'm saying. Paris has changed. If you go to any restaurant, they have a menus enfant. They have
Hmm.
like a children's seat, and I'm like, this is what I waited for. That's the American
Yes.
thing. Go to any American restaurant in the U.S. or even England, they have a
Hmm.
children's menu. They have coloring pencils for them to be entertained. They'll have cartoons on, and they will also have a table chair for them to sit on a little higher level,
Hmm.
and a toilet. That's one thing, right? A clean
Oh my
toilet.
God.
Yeah,
Paris and toilets, they don't get along at all.
Paris and toilets. Yeah,
At
that's
all.
true.
That's one of the problems that I have faced.
the
Finding clean toilets.
Yeah, I used to wait to come to school to go to the toilet. I'm so scared of using the public toilets or even at the restaurant.
Exactly.
I'm like, I either go home and use it or use it in school because the
And they
schools are
also
always, yeah,
they also have problems with toilets and restaurants.
yeah, I don't know.
Here in Lebanon, you can find like 15 toilets in every restaurant. In Paris, it's only one and
It's
it's
only
fixed.
one, and if it's blocked, the women will use the men's one. So it's
Exactly.
yeah, I get scared sometimes. I'm like, I go into the men's bathroom, I walk out from the stall and see a woman. I sometimes, oh my god, am I the wrong one? It's like, no, 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 you're in the right one. I came here because
Yes.
there's a long line at the women's one and it's not working. I don't know why that. What is this with the culture? Why do they have more toilets? I mean, at least have
Exactly.
four
I don't know.
stalls.
I don't know. That's a problem. And another problem is how much the tables are close to each other in the
Oh,
restaurant.
this is the reason for the success of Uber Eats and Deliveroo.
There's
People,
no privacy.
there's no privacy, are sitting elbow to elbow with each other. Uh,
Exactly.
I remember going to Deauville with my wife. This is quite a few years ago.
Mhm.
And we were actually staying at Honfleur, which is in Normandy. And then we drove to Deauville, saw the casino and the beach. And then on the way back, we said, okay, well, let's just go to a restaurant, had a pizza or something like that. It was a nice,
Mhm.
busy restaurant. But when we sat together, two other young gentlemen were sitting next to each other, and we were literally sharing ketchup. you know,
Mhm.
ketchup and other things. And they're like, sir, can you please pass this? And I'm reading Monsieur Alici. So, like romantic getaway and no privacy in the restaurant. This is terrible. This is the
Yes,
reason for the
yes.
success of Uber Eats and Deliveroo, because people don't want to sit in a congested place. They don't want to wait in line for so long. It's like, I'll
There
just
is
order food.
something.
Yeah.
There is something that I don't understand about Deliveroo,
Mm,
and it's really annoying
mm.
because all the items on Deliveroo are more expensive than you
Oh
can
yeah.
find them in the restaurant.
That's
Okay, I can
because
understand they
yeah.
can take delivery fees, but why to add the prices of the?
Okay, so the thing is, the small businesses, right? They
Mm-hmm,
are not doing delivery. They're actually using the service of Deliveroo, and
mm-hmm,
so they have to pay Deliveroo a commission, just like when an Uber driver, he's not taking money from you. The money is going to Uber, and he's paying Uber that I've used your service. Here's your commission. Give me my money. So that's how it
mm-hmm,
works. So Deliveroo, it's what we call a platform business, just like sometimes Amazon Web
mm-hmm.
Services, right? Majority of the time, the things you're buying on Amazon are may look cheap, but they're closing inventory items which are become much more cheaper, but on Amazon they're slightly expensive because they may have to pay between 10 to even 50% to Amazon Web
Oof.
Services. Yeah, depending on what they're selling. But small businesses rely on these things. That's why in places where I live, they don't have too much of Uber Eats and Deliveroo. They have self-delivery.
Mm-hmm,
Like the pizzeria guys will have two cars, like old Renault or Citroen cars, and they do the delivery by hand, or they'll use a motorbike, but they won't use Uber delivery. Just like say, it's trop cher, even for the clients and for us. So we prefer to use our own delivery guy, or they'll recruit a delivery person, for the whole, I would say, for the whole season or something. And like, hey, you got a motorbike, we'll pay you. Whatever tips you will get, you'll keep. And you'll also get a minimum wage salary. So most young people between the ages of, let's say, 18 to 21 who have a scooter,
mm-hmm.
they do delivery for all their food in the evening between like,
This is interesting.
yeah, between 7 to like 12, 7 p.m. to 12 in the midnight. Because in
Mm-hmm,
France, during the confinement, this is a funny thing. A lot of people I know people drink a lot of alcohol, right? But alcohol
mm-hmm,
consumption has shot through the roof, not just through the statistics, but through a person that I know who told, when we're talking about delivery and food, he said, after 6 p.m., you can only do delivery, right? You can't come to the restaurant and pick up your food due to the confinement, right? So he said this guy runs a restaurant, and the guy next to him, he runs a small grocery store where he also sells alcohol. And he tells him, it's like, brother, from 6 p.m. onwards to midnight, I'm
mm-hmm.
delivering. Well, you can say even before midnight, right? He said, he said, what are you delivering? He said, I'm delivering alcohol and aperitif, like potato chips and all those things.
Aperitif, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's it. And he said, I've been making on average of 1,000 to 1,500 euros in revenue sales. Like,
Oh,
holy, he said, people drink so much. And he's like, who's your audience? Who's your customer? It's like students who live in apartments. All evening long, all they do is drink alcohol. That's all they do.
yes.
And which is kind of sad, but is maybe good for business. So he's
A
like, I
good
pick.
business, a
Yeah.
good business.
So he just says,
Thank.
I go and pick up lots of bottles, and then I start delivering throughout the night, and then I go back 2, 3 times, and I'm done with my delivery in 3, 4 hours, and I make good money. Most of the time I'm taking cash.
This is smart.
Oh yeah, this is very smart. And this is the reason some businesses in Paris shut down, because their restaurant style business didn't change. They didn't change
Yes,
to
true.
delivery, they didn't change to emporter, they didn't change from having a system where they keep their kitchens open. They remain
Mm-hmm.
traditional, flat out died. But that's why the kebab guy survived, right? He's open from 11 a.m. in the morning till 11 p.m. at night, and they constantly serve. So
Mm-hmm.
this kind of benefited a lot of the people. This is the weird thing about, I would say, coming to Paris is you get to experience so much, and yet in every part of the arrondissement that you go, you have a different culture. You have a different set of
Mm-hmm.
people, and I would say you must keep your eyes and ears open. That Paris is a melting pot of many different cultures, I guess. But at the same time, there's also, I would say, division in those arrondissements wherever you go. So I think if you want to learn more about like doing business with different people, also realize there's a lot of bureaucracy in France. And this,
Oh my God, how much I hated the bureaucracy in France.
oh,
Just
I still hate it.
for simply opening a bank account, I had to sign like 65 pages.
Hmm.
That
Oh my.
was like a surprise for me. In
One
Lebanon,
day,
you just sign
one day I'm going
one
to show
page and
you.
it's
One day I'm going to show you the amount of pages I signed to get a home. When I became a home buyer, the
I'd love to see
oh
that.
my God, the notaire called us and he showed us the pages. He's like, I will read some of it. And I said, how long is the session? He's like, it's 2 hour session where I have to read out everything and then you will be signing. And when I started signing, oh my God, I said, is this typical? He's like, actually, you're signing fewer documents because you'll come in for another hearing with me, the notaire, and then we'll listen to more stuff that I have to say, and then we'll sign more stuff. I'm like, my God. Same with contracts. When you get a job, you're like
Yes,
signing and
yes,
signing.
yes, yes.
And they say,
They just
not
love paper. They just love
love
paper
paper.
signed.
Yeah. Not just sign. You have to, what do you call it? Use your initial. What do you
Uh,
call it?
uh, 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 the, the
Parfait
initials,
avec
yes, yes, yes.
les deux alphabets or your initials on chaque page, every page.
I forgot the word in French, the word of initials in French.
I don't know. They just say paraphrase, I think.
Perif,
Paris, something like that. And number two,
something like
also,
that, yes.
when you're signing, you must say lu et approuvé, bon pour accord. You have to say that read and
Read
approved
and
and
approved.
okay for signing. And then you sign. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Exactly. You got my signature. Why do you want to
What more
approve
do
it?
you want? No, this is you
It
must.
is a part of approve.
So you know what I do now?
Exactly.
Everything is electronic, right? So
Yes.
I said I don't have. I tell them I don't have a printer, so I sign electronically. What I do is basically an Adobe or any other software. You can save your signature, like your initial part.
Hmm?
So I just copy paste my initial on every page, and I sign a fresh one with the date using my
Yes.
stylus. And I'm like, here you go, done. I say I signed it.
That's
Did
such a
not
relief.
digitally. I signed it electronically using a stylus. So if you want to confirm, you have my proof. Jesus, it takes forever. But this is a
And
topic for another day. We'll talk about the bureaucratic part and living in Paris next time. But
mhm.
this was quite fun getting to know about. I didn't know that you were initially into like becoming a doctor and then you pursued economics
Yes.
and all. I thought you were directly into business all over the place. So,
Hmm.
which was kind of, I would say, an eye opener for me too. Any plans of coming back to Paris?
Currently, no,
Hmm.
because my life really changed. I was planning to coming back, but I had like a huge step to make in my life, and I'm currently starting my own business other than the
Hmm.
family business that I told you about.
Right.
And it is a huge scale business on
Mhm.
international level, so it's consuming all my time.
Okay.
So now, no, I want to grow in my country despite the economic situation, despite the economic depression that we are facing. I
Mhm.
kind of found an opportunity to grow, to start something new that doesn't happen really often in Lebanon. So I'm working really hard to build a solid base where I can start,
Mhm.
and it's taking all my time. I
Um,
wanted to tell you that I also was working as entrepreneurship trainer. I used to give workshops on how to turn your idea into a business.
okay.
I even started my own page on Instagram. You
Right.
are
I know.
following
I've followed that, which will be also a topic for our next sessions, many
next
sessions that
sessions.
the many sessions we
Yes.
will have together. So
So now
about
I stopped everything. I'm
yeah.
just focusing on my business because I really wanted to work.
Hmm.
So I took a time off from the page and from all the workshops that I used to take.
Hmm.
So that's why no, I'm not planning to go back to Paris because I really want this thing to succeed because I started it from scratch. I started it from zero. So I consider it like it's my kingdom, my future kingdom.
Right.
So basically, all my time, all my effort, all my energy, I'm saving it for this business.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, so Jean Paul, once again, I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It was fun.
Thank
And
you. It
we'll
was really
continue
fun.
this on another note, another time, and on another topic. And
Yes.
we would love to hear more about your stories and your advices for all the young people who are our audiences.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank you once again and
Thank you so
have a good
much.
one. All right.
I had a
Bye.
blast. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, just hear me out for a little message. I want to create content about all the inspiring stories and the journeys of the people I have known over the past many years. As an educator who sees the growth of their students, I want to share their stories to help inspire others. Please consider subscribing and sharing this channel with your friends. That will also encourage me to make more content. Till next time.